said in the beginning because I realized that I didn't have the audio capture here. So let me just say that again real quick because I'm a dummy. Hello, everybody. I apologize. My name is Evan from HIMedia, and I'm joined today by the illustrious Brian No.2 Ortega. How the hell are you doing? Again, I understand for everybody watching this in the moment, it seems a little weird that we're doing this twice, but the person who's watching this on YouTube has no fucking idea because I just told them. So here we are. So you and I were chit chatting a little bit off stream. So for those who are wondering, the cat Brian is I have a little bit of a setup for guests so they can sit on the couch and then I can sit here at my desk where I'm most comfortable and have a conversation. Can you hear me all right? By the way, Brian.
Yes, of course. I hope everybody in chat can hear me, can hear Evan now. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. I know that it's going to be a good time, so.
Cool beans. All right. So I wanted to. So I know you wanted to chit chat at least initially about some of like the. I think for me, the rest of this stuff is kind of pedestrian. Not to say it's not entertaining to talk about, but it's like, you know, you told me that Wells Fargo was up to some heinous shit. You mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I saw a story today. I don't know where I saw it. It might have been Snapchat or something like that. Um, where it turns out an ex executive who got fired came out and said that Wells Fargo was still having interviews and promising jobs to minorities of job placements that were already filled.
Really?
And the reason that this guy actually got fired was because he went to his managers and higher executives and was like, hey, this is morally wrong. This is evil. We shouldn't be doing this. And he
Got
got
fired.
fired. But Wells Fargo was claiming that he got fired for some other reasons. I really
It's
don't.
always a different reason because they can't actually say
Yeah.
they fired him for the reason they did because that's illegal.
But it came out that like six or seven other former executives that might have got fired for the same reason came out and said that Wells Fargo was doing that. And there's some current people who are working at Wells Fargo right now who said that they do it. So
I'm not surprised.
I'm not saying that it's a definite thing, but I definitely think
Oh no,
that
they definitely do it.
yeah, for sure. And I forget when they said they were doing this. I think from 2016 to 2017, they were doing this back to back. So
Yeah, so they're scumbags.
it's seeming that way. Like, I'm not here to judge or cast blame, but I mean, it's a nameless corporation. Of course, they're gonna do something like this.
Yeah, nah. I feel
Uh,
it. And honestly, like Wells Fargo has always been kind of shit. Let's be real.
yeah, because first they had about the accounts, right? The account closures for all the credit accounts. Before that, they had something where they were signing up all of their, not employees, but their customers with separate accounts that they weren't asking for and investing with their money in like Roth IRAs when they weren't asking to be done that. So yeah, Wells Fargo has always been kind of a like evil bank to bank at. There's always some news about them here or there, or something else is happening. So it's always interesting to see how much more business can fuck up.
Like, make no mistake. Like, I've worked on products that, and I'm working on, and like for my current job. So not to name names or say what I'm talking about on a public venue, because I generally think negative of it. Um, there's there people are working on some heinous shit in the background of these corporations, and it's like it's like like I always love how like I hear conservatives always talking about like, hey, no, corporations serve the community and they do X and Y and Z. Like this is not serving the community. This is expressly doing the opposite. And
Yeah, no doubt.
like what the fuck is the alternative? You know what I mean?
And it's always interesting to me also that there's always a person who's gonna be the whistleblower.
Always, because the fact of the matter is that at a certain point you can't hire enough people who are competent at their jobs and willing to lie on your behalf.
Yeah, no doubt.
But like speaking of lies, um, Twitter Twitter prospective buyer Elon Musk recently hit it recently came out that he paid 250,000 to a female worker at Tesla for exposing himself to her. Which I just want to say for the record, I am genuinely impressed that he hasn't whipped his dick out to anyone before this point, or it hasn't been come out that he's done that up until this point. He's absolute. Let's be real. He's done it. Just like how like Madison Cawthorn was talking about all of the coke fueled orgies and shit in Capitol Hill. We know they exist. I just don't believe Madison Cawthorn was actually invited to any of them. You know, so like it's like he's whipped his dick out to other people before. I'm just wondering why this was the one where that. I'm just curious how like why this one got out and the others didn't. But anyways, want to go over that a little bit, Brian?
Yeah, that's what's the most interesting part about the story. But to catch everybody up, long story short, a person in SpaceX accused Elon Musk of rubbing her leg, exposing his erect genitalia to her, and what's it called? Something else. I think bribery or coercion or something like that.
Hostile work environment.
Yeah, and they kept it under wraps for like 6-7 years. They didn't want to pay it out, and then finally in like 2021, maybe 2019, they paid it out. So that was the most interesting story. Part of this though, that nobody else has really come out about Elon like exposing himself. Not saying either way that he did it or that he didn't do it. I don't want to again cast judgment because it's innocent until proven guilty. But if this is the case, it's interesting that this is the first time we're hearing about it. You know?
Elon, let's be real. Like, obviously, yes, innocent until proven guilty in the court of law.
I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. Anybody could do it. Like,
dude,
it doesn't
he is
surprise
a
me.
narcissistic multi-billionaire with a god complex.
It doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm surprised that it took this long for some shit like this to come out in the first place.
No, definitely. The other interesting thing about it is, why did SpaceX keep it under wraps for so long? Obviously, we know the reason.
Because literally, I would argue that part of the reason why Elon Musk has been able to go under the radar without as much litigation going towards him as he's probably deserved for his heinous business practices is because so many conservative libertarians fucking love him. So many just mediocre white men who have this who believe in meritocracy and watch Jordan Peterson and all that shit genuinely think he's the end all be. He's he's gonna save the world with capitalism and shit.
Yeah, no doubt. It's also interesting. Did you see that he tweeted out that he was going to turn Republican? That because of all the Democratic hate that he got for wanting to buy Twitter, he said that liberals were always the non-mean party. But after all the stuff that he's gone through because of them,
well, the thing is that liberals are mean, but just to people who are bad, who take advantage of other people or are bad people. And yeah. if you're gonna be a shit-stained human being, don't be surprised when fucking Sarah the housewife who drinks boxed wine and and yells racial slurs sometimes because she has the one black friend from her book club, like doesn't fucking like you.
Yeah, definitely. It's not that surprising at all.
Not at all, no. But speaking of Jordan Peterson, I did actually want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, if y'all heard this is crazy.
All right, so let me like you
You
lay
should
down the
do it.
groundwork and let me see if I can even find this shit.
Okay, guys, I'm also sitting here watching stream. Kilowatt, thank you for saying he said semen, and haha, he said semen. Great commentary. Very, very much, thank you. But long story short, what's been going on with that is Jordan Peterson, do you know what day it was, Evan? Any chance?
I think it was.
Was it the day you told me?
It was honestly like 2 days before that.
Okay, so let's say Sunday, Monday, around there. Jordan Peterson goes on Twitter and he tweets out about the new Sports Illustrated magazine that this is not healthy and I will not submit to the authoritarian Marxist, whatever it is, that he said, to agree that this is beautiful. I do not like this at all. I am quitting Twitter because of this, right? Something along that line.
Something, yeah, it's like pathetic little piss baby shit.
So what ended up happening was he was tweeting about this woman. I think she's named Numa Yu. My fault. I didn't want to be
Numa Yu, I believe it's.
I didn't want to be too racist about it.
Jesus.
Like, I didn't want to come off like, oh, look at this guy, So, long story short, Evan comes to me on Wednesday and tells me about this situation. And I'm like, We pull up a picture of this woman on the Sports Illustrated magazine cover. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. She's a thick woman. She's looking pretty healthy to me. And I might add, a little beautiful. And I don't want to be creepy on stream, nothing like that. Like, just objectively.
Man, listen, you.
Just objective. Hold on. Wait.
My guy, you were a fuckboy in a past life. You don't have an ounce of toxic masculinity in you. If you want to say you would fuck her, say it. It's not
even that. Way. Just like, not necessarily, because I don't think she's personally like my type that I would go after. But if it happened, it happened. I wouldn't be upset, and I'd be like, she was beautiful. But what I'm saying is, she's not bad. She's, I don't want to get too mean, too aggressive, but she's not a big lady. Let's say that. Is that fair? Is that fair?
She's not a what you and I would consider a big girl.
Thank you. I would say she's medium sized, So,
she looks like a majority of women.
Now, on this podcast, me and Evan are always honest with you as much as we are, and we never want to try and come off as deceiving. So genuinely, I come from a place where I kind of like Jordan Peterson. Like, some of the stuff that he says...
Cringe.
Say what you want, Evan.
Cringe.
Let me get my piece out of this.
All right, fine. Say what you can say.
Let me get my piece out of this. So
I want to just, for everybody who hasn't seen yet, this is the woman that homie said, sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of sorry, let me actually say this probably. Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is gonna change that. Because he sounds like fucking Morty from Rick and Morty. Like if he sounds like if Morty was trying to sound like Kermit the Frog.
That's hilarious.
Am I legit? Like I'm gonna.
Sorry, not beautiful.
Hold on. Let me bring up a couple more pictures for this.
Yeah. So
this is the woman we're talking about.
She's not.
This
bad. Like, sure, she's got a little hit, but I like a little hit. I like
we all like look at that. We all like what's not to love.
Really, like. I'm a thigh guy myself. So
fucking right. So
what can I say?
Right. So and then he said, and then he goes on a whole ass the whole ass tirade. I'm wondering if he deleted. Did he? No, he didn't. He said so. A streamer I like by the name of Vosh said also authoritarian. Let me see if I can find the fucking thread. Authoritarian amount of tolerance is going to change that. He said, "It's all right, sir. I like men too." Also authoritarian. Chunky women on magazine covers. You sound like a parody of you, which is true.
Yes.
And then we are going to scroll
Why
up.
Why was he quoting Glenn Greenwald just really quick?
I fucking hate Glenn Greenwald.
Do you
man.
really?
Dude, my problem...
Listen,
listen.
He's a good reporter.
I'm not saying he's not a bad reporter, but my problem is that his own politics, like, influence his reporting, and that's where my problem is. He is a social conservative, and generally social conservatives believe very immoral things and want to subjugate society with immoral things, and that's generally my thing. So let me actually see what he says. He says, Glenn Greenwald says, that's why the entire liberal left faction is united to blame the Buffalo Massacre on Tucker Carlson, even though A, they have no idea if the killer even watched the show, and B, he never once mentioned Carlson in his list of influencers. He hated conservatism in Fox. So I want to actually touch on this real quick.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that at all?
Let me talk about this real quick. I want to be clear, and this is for any conservative people watching. When we as left-wingers and even liberals say that we're not saying Tucker Carlson is directly responsible for the for even influencing the Buffalo shooting. The problem is that Tucker Carlson frequently uses dog whistles and great replacement theory rhetoric on his show. So let me actually see if I can pull something up from my history. I was watching a dumb Vosh video earlier. Unfortunately, I can't find... Oh, here it is. I found it. All right, so in this video is a supercut of a bunch of Tucker Carlson talking points and stuff. You're good. You're good, Blue. I'm sorry there's no Master Duel, but no, we're doing a podcast at the moment. We're gonna play some games later though, probably Inscription. So I wanted to play this real quick. Watch. Watch.
What am I supposed to be?
Just ignore him talking. Watch this. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't hear. Let me fix that.
I was going to say...
All right, so mind muting your mic real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you need me to.
Just so we're not getting no... Actually, don't mute it. I actually turned off the audio so that people will be able to hear everything as well. No, so we'll just do that. All right, so check it.
If you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. Let's say that again for emphasis, because it is the secret to the entire immigration debate. Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions. In other words, you're being replaced, and there's nothing you can do about it. So shut up! I mean, they're trying to change the population of the United States, and they hate it when you say that because it's true. Our country's being invaded by the rest of the world. From the state, unequivocally, the country's being stolen from American citizens as we watch. In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries.
Legacy.
So... Bosch is going to make a point here that I was going to make myself. I'm just going to play this out just so I don't have to make it myself.
Americans. Legacy We're literally just coming up with synonyms for white here.
So that's the big thing. Like, at the end of the day, the problem with Tucker Carlson is simply the fact that he espouts right-wing... like alt-right, like right-wing fascists, or it's just fascist ideology. I'm gonna call a pig a pig, a duck, a swan, a swan. It's fascist ideology, right-wing fascist ideology, repackaged with dog whistles for consumption of a typical American conservative audience. That's literally what, like, it's like the shooter was actually terrified of white people not being the majority in this country anymore due to the great conspiracy, the great replacement conspiracy theory. Now, I don't mean to push, but I would assume that I just realized that for the last 2 minutes while I've been talking, my headset's been off. Because I'm a dumbass. I'm fucking stupid. Alright, so let me just reiterate that a little.
Jesus. You mean they didn't hear you at all?
They didn't hear a fucking thing I said because I'm a dumbass.
Is there any way you could put the chat on stream?
Put the channel street? No, but, yeah, kind of no. Just keep it up on Twitch. But, so let me just reiterate why, real quick. Let me just reiterate why. My problem, and the problem with left-wingers, the problem that left-wingers and liberals have with Tucker Carlson is that he takes fascist talking points, because that is what the alt-right is. They are fascists. Period. They want to implement some version of fascism on some level. Maybe not economic, but certainly at the very minimum social. And he takes that and takes those talking points, repackages them as with dog whistles to be repackaged for consumption by a average conservative American audience. And as a result of that, we end up getting, well, I think the problem is that we end up getting people believing these things. Like, as that clip from the streamer Vosh said, it's literally like synonyms for white. Because if you look at Tucker Carlson's content on the regular, I'm not saying that there isn't some valuable journalism going on there covering things that are important. The problem is that any positives that could be stated are completely overshadowed by the colossal pile of shit that is the social conservative, economically nationalist, and socially nationalist policy prescriptions he's shoving down the American people's throats with dog whistles. People blame Tucker Carlson because he has the largest conservative platform in the United States.
Yeah,
and he uses that platform to repackage Nazi talking points, fascist talking points, into the conservative mainstream.
I want to just say one thing.
What?
Not that I don't agree with you. I definitely do. But I don't know. I think to suggest that that's enough to say he's an influencer on a killer when millions of people who consume his media, although you might disagree. I'm not saying you agree.
I'm not saying Tucker Carlson is culpable.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not even what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that he needs to shut the fuck up on some of his rhetoric, on his great replacement rhetoric, because this 18-year-old guy I almost called him a kid. He killed people. He's a man and deserves to get prosecuted.
No, well, don't get me wrong. He does deserve to be prosecuted, but he is a kid. He threw his whole life again.
He is a kid. And here's the thing. Nobody starts out as a Nazi unless your parents were, like, already there and teaching you.
And did you hear, though, the relatives were blaming it on the pandemic? Like, the pandemic is over. You know
what?
Go out.
But you want to know probably why? It's probably because they're all conservative, too, and he just kept going down a pipeline that they themselves put him on. They probably watched Fox News in the house, and he probably and Fox News is the gateway towards the alt-right. It's like...
Yeah, but not to quote this bitch, because I do agree with some of the shit that you say, but it says, that's why the entire left liberal faction instantly united to blame the Buffalo Massacre on Tucker Carlson, even though A, they have no idea if the killer ever watched the show, B, he never once mentioned Carlson in his long list of influencers, and C, he hated conservatism and Fox.
Right. And D, conservatism is on the same side of the political spectrum as fascism. First of all, and E, Tucker Carlson, like, does Tucker Carlson have a direct culpable effect on this event? No. But he plays a very important role at bringing over other young men and women. Let's be real, it's mostly men.
And not that young.
Yeah. Further down the alt-right pipeline. He says awful, heinous shit packaged as reasonable sounding, maybe further to the right of center, the fuck is the name of it? Just bullshit, So I get it, but at the end of the day, I get it. Like, if you remove nuance from the conversation, and let's be real, conservatives do not do nuance well whatsoever.
Definitely not.
Like, yes.
Real quick.
What's
we
up?
have to make Winston talk.
We have to make Winston talk?
Yeah.
Would you mind using some of your channel points to make that happen with a sound alert?
Somebody did that with 400 points. How do I do that?
Let me see. Am I able to make that sound alert happen on my end? Yeah, I think I can. Give me a second.
Sorry, not to take away from our conversation. Just, want to be loyal.
Yep, absolutely. Let me, I fixed it. I turned the thing on. Let's play it. There we go. That's better. But regardless, yeah, that's the whole thing. But back to the Jordan Peterson thing.
Yeah, so
like homie basically,
we could go back to the other thread. Yeah.
Let's see if we can find the doom scrolling thread he wrote.
Hey, while you're scrolling, also ETA on the taco.
ETA on the tacos, because yes, we did order Taco Bell because apparently they brought the Mexican. Oh, my order was dropped off.
How long ago?
20 minutes ago.
Oh no.
You want to go grab it or shall I?
Up to you. Which is easier?
I'm currently talking this, so we'll why don't you come here, sit down, and read out some of these tweets and shit, and just give your general reactions.
Yeah. Should I?
Because this is the full thread.
Should I close the one window to my picture?
No, you can leave it. You're good. I'll be back in a moment.
Sounds good. Hello, everybody. Right now the No.2. So, excuse me.
Yeah, it's recently. Yeah, I just read them out verbatim, because we can comment on it after the fact.
Okay, for sure. So yeah, get back up where we were at. Also, sorry for me touching the mic. I recently stopped accessing Twitter for 3 weeks as an experiment. I had some of my staff post video links, etc. It was a genuine relief. I started to write and read and write more. I started using it again a few days ago, and I would say that my life got worse again almost instantly. You know, that's interesting because, like, social media, I feel like sometimes if you're super into it and it takes a lot of effect on you, like, it's not really good for your psyche. I think after a certain point, you need to put it down. And I personally know that Jordan Peterson takes, like, a lot of personal offense to this type of stuff. So it's surprising to see that that's the reaction that he was having after following all of this. So yeah, the endless flood of vicious insult is really not something that can be experienced anywhere else. I like to follow the people I know, but I think the incentive structure of the platform makes it intrinsically and dangerously insane. So I told my staff to change my password to keep me from temptation and departing once again. If I have something to say, I'll write an article or make a video. If the issue is not important enough to justify that, then perhaps it would be best to just let it go. Do you have evidence for that? Not criticizing, genuinely curious. I note the vast majority of vicious insults on Twitter come from bots. The toxicity is on autopilot. The Twitter's inability to stop the bots is cryptic. One solution is to implement the orange check verification system to deliver safety and stability. So, I mean, also Evan is back.
Okay, I got our food.
Good. I'll go back to the seat. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he said some interesting stuff. Not interesting in terms of like.
I'm gonna follow that advice, and I think that he's right on this
but
shit.
it's an interesting perspective from somebody who was just complaining about a model being fat.
Right, it's like he insulted somebody without any prompting whatsoever, and then he gets pissed when he tries to make himself the victim.
Yeah, like most narcissists, because he's a narcissist.
Yes. And you know what? There are plenty of mediocre men on this world who look at him as a fucking father figure.
And it's kind of sad, because you're like, come on, man. Like,
Better than that.
that's your daddy? Like, that guy?
It's like it's honestly it's the same type of men, honest to God, that say things like that who like when their father told them to make their bed, they it says fuck you dad and then shit on the guest bedroom bed like Amber Heard. And then they grow up, and then Jordan Peterson says the first thing you should always do when you wake up. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. The first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is you should make your bed. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That sounds like a good idea. It's like, if it sounds like a good idea, why did you fight with your dad to do it?
Because they suck.
Dog, this is about to be amazing. Did you hear also about this new edible tape that people are going to be able to put on burritos? I heard about this, and it sounds amazing.
Well, edible tape? Learn how to fucking roll. Burrito properly, man. Come on.
Nah, like if the shit falls out. You know whenever you eat a burrito, sometimes it falls out.
I don't know if I can find the video, but it was some fat man shit. It was a literal fucking cone you put over, and you put a tortilla in the bottom of it, and you eat your burrito over like the funnel, and then basically it makes a whole new tortilla of all the shit that fell out after.
Dog, you just do that with a regular tortilla under it.
Facts. These are so bad for you, but man, they're good.
Really good. Sorry, guys. I know it's a little quiet, but...
Yeah, I know. Speaking of... Since we've been on Twitter this whole time, speaking of Twitter...
Oh.
I heard that Elon Musk was Elon Musk was trying to, like, pull all types of shenanigans and shit, saying, oh, I'm not going to buy it unless there's less than 5% of bots. And they're holding his ass to the fire like, no. You committed. Oh, wow, you're hungry.
I better get to that. But, Is that what the reason was for holding back? I thought some other reason.
What do you mean?
I thought there was another reason for him trying to back out.
He probably doesn't want to spend $44 billion on Twitter. It's a shit money move. Twitter makes no money, and he's gonna have to spend $44 billion to buy it. Like, he's not gonna be able to buy it all himself. He needs help from capital funds.
But here's the thing.
What?
But here's the thing, right? If I'm in the position where I work in a capital fund, right? If somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to buy Twitter," I have an influence on one of the world's bullhorns, you know? Not saying necessarily that he has an obligation to listen to me, you know? But if you could have that type of pull, if you're pledging enough money to him, right? I feel like that would be a smart money move. If you're the one getting paid back, not if you're Elon, you know?
I would not be surprised if Elon Musk decided to force the Twitter engineers to make a feature where the first tweet that you see the moment you log on is the most recent tweet Elon Musk put out.
And it's just always there.
Like, whether you're following him or not, you just always see his shit.
That's funny.
I'll do it. Shit. Find on Twitter.
Or like you have to follow him.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. Nice, Blue. What you mod your 2DS for?
I don't even have chat up, y'all. Sorry.
You're good. You look like you're coming in your pants eating that quesarito. I got you, Blue. But regardless, on to the next one. Here's the thing that I arguably care the least about.
Like,
yeah. Blue, who's just said, that's Taco Bell, destroy that.
Dog. If you mean eat, and eat like you've never eaten before, yes.
Blue is Hispanic and has a general moral hatred of Taco Bell. I mean, I get it.
Understandable.
The story of it was
back
literally a
into-
white man trying to steal the recipe of a Hispanic restaurant and then taking that recipe and making a fucking killing.
Yeah, paper towels.
Use a tissue paper. But
Nah, I get it too. I'd be upset. And I should be upset because there's Ortega taco kits, and I'm not getting paid from that. I feel like I should, right? It's my name.
no, I feel you. I feel that.
That's like if there was haggard bread. You wouldn't tell me you feel some type of way of it.
I mean, Haggard is a common name in the South.
That's what I mean, though. And all you niggas are related, so like, there. Sorry, I can't say that on Twitter. Twitch.
Twitch,
Twitter.
yeah. But on to Brandon Schwab and all that shit.
Oh.
The only reason I know anything about it is because I watch Philip DeFranco on most of the time, and if he goes over it, I know. So get me up to speed. Start at the beginning and see if I've missed anything.
Okay, objectively, the very, very, very beginning was Brendan Schwab hit on Kalila in a DM one time, like 7-8 years ago, right?
Whatever. It's like shit from a decade ago.
Yeah, they figured it out.
It has zero bearing on what the fuck everybody's doing now.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, objectively, that's the beginning because they bring it up a little bit, right? So, Brendan Schwab for like 6-7 months has been getting 6-7 years, sorry, has been getting like bullied and shit like that, and supposedly there was a possible like kid sex scandal, pedophilic type thing going on one of the Reddit threads. So 6-7 months ago, or 5-6 months ago, Kalila on a podcast is talking about somebody, and it's all
Initials are BS.
Initials are BS, and they're saying that he's a comedian that isn't funny, and they're just like talking about bullshit, saying that he was trying to get walked to his car, which I mean.
Can I just straight for the record real quick? BS. Unfunny comedian. I find it fucking hysterical that everybody immediately defaulted to Brendan Schwab.
I know, that's hilarious.
Because here's the thing: a B name and an S name, initials. That's pretty common. And they're probably talking about some. If they aren't talking about Brendan Schwab, they're probably talking about someone else in the comedy scene who's younger. Brendan Schwab was able to get into comedy because of his Rogan appearances and his friends that encouraged him. Joey Diaz was the only one who said like,
No.
"Hey yo, bro, I don't think you should do it. You're better as a fighter than a comic."
But yeah, that's what.
Not to be mean, why? Can you rewrite that, Blue, just so I can understand your intent better? I don't even know who Johnny Depp is, but now I do since last week. All right, so
that's interesting.
All right, so we're gonna get to that question in a bit. Let's wrap this Brendan Schwab shit up real quick.
So then, long story short, he calls Bobby Lee, and he's just like, I found out that it's you who's been doing this Twitter thing, and since it's going to the police, I have monster lawyers that are going to destroy you. And
now, I don't know much about Bobby Lee. I've never been particularly interested in his podcast and comedy, but from everything I've interacted with him, the one thing I've gathered is that man's a moron.
Yeah,
so it's like
not that
it takes a different level of like dedication, effort, and
not that he's a moron, but he
like it's like he knows what he knows and he doesn't know nothing else.
Definitely. So
we'll get there, Blue.
So even Bobby Lee was like, yeah. So then they had a screaming match with him and Brian Callen. Brian Callen was like supposedly threatening him.
Oof.
Brendan Schwab was like actually threatening lawyers and suing him. So Bobby Lee and Kalila go on H3 podcast, and they don't really want to talk
the illustrious Ethan and Ela Klein.
And they don't really like necessarily want to talk about it. Kalila doesn't really care, but Bobby cares because that's like his friend. Like he doesn't want
his friend just did a 180 and fucking threatened him and shit.
And he's like still processing and shit. So then finally they bring it up, and then Kalila's like, no, I want to talk about this. And then finally Bobby Lee starts talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I just got bullied by him. Like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, this is weird. So they invite Brendan Schwab on to the podcast. And they're like, why did you go to Rogan and talk about this to Rogan? They like bring up everything that happened.
Schwab is on backpedal mode the entire time.
Long story short, he's like, hey, I should have gone to you guys first, and if it's anybody on your team. And then they immediately stop, and they're like, why would anybody on my brand, my company, want to go after you? And Kalila was definitely a little bit harder on him than Bobby was.
Yeah, because Bobby is probably just like, listen, after all the shit Bobby went through with fucking Ari.
Ari, fucking Carlos Mencia. He's been through a lot of shit.
Dude, it's like Bobby just wants friends that he can love and trust. The problem is that I'm not gonna speak for Brendan Schwab because this is the first time I've heard him really acting out and shit. But like on this case of like Ari and Carlos Mencia, they're straight up narcissists.
Well, obviously.
Well, I think Carlos kind of like got 10 years of life experience under his belt and grew the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But That's all. Let's get to what Blue was talking about.
So Blue asked, I don't even know who Johnny Depp is now, and now I do since last week. Why are we into people's problems when it's not even affecting you like Johnny Depp? Okay. So
not to defend Johnny, but
to answer the first question, Blue, we're doing it because my guy sitting on the couch back there thought it'd be interesting to talk about, and it's whatever.
Johnny Depp. We didn't talk about Johnny Depp.
We didn't, but it's like he's also mentioning that he has never heard of Johnny Depp before this point, and he's like, why am I hearing about this trial? So, Blue, the reason why that the Johnny Depp trial is important is because it is a very important and very public step in the into the dismantling of patriarchy. So what does that mean?
And the effects that negatively impact men in patriarchy, as well as women.
Right, because one of the big problems that while third wave feminism helps everybody, male and female, have better lives, and the problem is that most people's understanding of feminism is from second wave, which is in the 80s, which was like looked at as men as antagonists and other, not as victims of patriarchy themselves. As for Amber Heard was Johnny Depp's abuser. Now, do I think that they both had a very complex and problematic marriage with two very deeply flawed human beings that shouldn't have been together in the first place? Absolutely.
Former wife, his ex-wife.
But what I will say is...
And got $7 million out of the settlement after, like, a few years of dating. Of being married. Let's make sure that's clear.
Right. So basically, Blue, for the uninitiated, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were married. I didn't know who Amber Heard was before this, too. I didn't know. Because...
That doesn't surprise me.
No, because my cultural knowledge of the world at large is terrible, as Brian can attest. But...
True.
The point is that Johnny Depp was similar to Robin Williams in a significant amount of movies and media that were important to people our age. So he's an important figure. Also, for many of us, we have accepted that some of the people we idolize are monsters, and we are much more able to accept that now than we were probably 10 years ago.
But I think also we're starting...
mind if I finish the reframing real quick?
Sorry.
You're good.
No, go ahead.
So basically, what ended up happening is that it came out a few years ago that Johnny Depp had abused Amber Heard, and she was divorcing him. And this was just at the tail end of the Me Too era, and Amber Heard did a public statement through a non-domestic violence organization. Didn't mention Johnny by name, but implied it was him.
Also, can I just add this?
Yeah.
Also wrote an article in the New York Times anonymously directing, not anonymously, but talking about...
We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
It was published in the New York Times, but it was published through a domestic violence not charity.
And she was alluding to Johnny.
Yeah. So basically, what ended up happening is that she made a bunch of claims, and that were made public, and as a result, from day one, Johnny didn't apologize for shit. He said this is not true, and was very, very adamant about it, but he lost basically everything. He was cut out from many movies. Even now, Disney is replacing him with someone new for the next Pirates of the Caribbean. He's not going to be Jack Sparrow anymore. He was also taken off the Crimes of Grindelwald movie for the Fantastic Beasts series. And so what ended up happening is after trying and failing to nail her for defamation in the UK, he's trying again here in the States. And what has come out since then, especially with leaked audio in the lead up to this defamation trial, is audio where Amber Heard admitted while they were together to beating the fuck out of him, to hurting him,
To being an abuser.
Now, the thing is she, Amber Heard, up until this point, had attested that she was the victim in all of this and did nothing wrong herself, and had lied, and had lied and whenever he said that she hurt me too, she said he was lying. Now, I'm not saying that Johnny Depp didn't hurt her, or choke her, or what the fuck ever, or any of that shit that she says. I'm not even saying that. The problem is that she, an abuser herself, weaponized her experiences and did everything in her power to negate the abuse she did to another person in terms of gaslighting. And the reason I say all of that up until this point...
real quick, sorry, just to add, she also countersued him for $100 million.
Yeah, he's basically suing her. He's basically suing her for defamation, and she's basically countersuing him for, way more than he's suing her for. He's, suing her, for, a small amount of money, for, a smaller... I think it was, what?
$50 million.
$50 million? Yeah.
Yep.
She's, for the money lost from not being able to, do these roles and kind of, more and all... She's countersuing him for, $200 million?
I think it's $100 million if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so basically double what he's suing her for. And the reason why this is important is because when I said at the top of this that patriarchy is a big thing, in that we don't really... one of the biggest parts of patriarchy that is not talked about contemporarily in today's society is that men perpetuate their own oppression of being forced into these narrow gender roles that are generally aggressive, devoid of emotion. You're only allowed to show anger and stoicism. Amber Heard, now also, women also do part in their own subjugation as well. They say men need to act a certain way. They can't show emotion, they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do X, Y, Z. It's absurd. And force men into feeling like they have to slot into these gender roles. Amber Heard literally said on tape that you're a man, you should just fucking take it.
And also, in the same clip, you're a man, who's going to believe you got abused?
Yep. And at the end of the day, this is not going to be a step that is remembered. And I would even argue that in the way for dismantling patriarchy and the hurt it does to us as a society, it's not even going to be remembered. It's going to be an anecdote at best. Most people aren't even going to remember it. But this is going to... For me, I think of this as a moment of a lot of Americans waking up to the fact that there's a lot of men that I think there's a lot of women that are waking up to the fact that men don't have to be X or Y. And I think that it's also the case that men are waking up to realize that they don't need to be in a relationship where a woman is treated this way. If there's one caveat on the negative that I feel about this particular trial, is that a lot of mediocre men are going to look at this and think of this as justification to not believe other women's domestic abuse and assault cases in the future. That is my one worry. But aside from that, this trial, even if Johnny Depp loses this defamation trial, the effect on the public consciousness is going to be so huge that I think that it's the first step of changing the way we as a society view gender roles, and I think that's very important.
I hear that. To turn this a little bit more interactive, you asked Blue, so who's guilty then? To be honest, we don't really know. Like, it could go either way. We're not going to sit here and defend Johnny just because he's a childhood figure, and we're not going to sit here and defend Heard because we don't really know what's going on. We have the recordings of what went on with Amber Heard, what she said, but at the same time, we haven't really heard anything from Johnny's side of it.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that Amber Heard has a lot of anecdotal evidence. But at the same time, you know, you have two multi-millionaires. Like
airing out all their dirty laundry, and there was somebody in the case who said, "What's going on right now is absolutely wrong." You know, like nobody should be airing out their dirty laundry like this, and it's a shame what happened to Johnny's career and what seems to be happening now to Amber Heard's career, because it's coming out.
Jason Momoa refused to fucking work with her.
Really?
Dude, like her shit in Aquaman 2's got cut down to 10 minutes, and it's a question whether or not she's even in it anymore.
Yeah, and it's only fair because if you're gonna write somebody out of a series that he single-handedly built, and especially if it's coming out now that he might be awarded the money and it didn't actually happen, or vice versa, whatever it may be, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. It's got to be.
I'm just curious as to why Disney and Warner Brothers thought siding with Amber Heard was the optics win. All right, see you, Blue.
At the time, it was.
Yeah, but I'm wondering why they didn't flip flop. Why they're sticking by her. She probably has friends higher up in the companies.
Yeah, and like Johnny, although
and a lot of the career business women that are high up in these companies are second wave feminists. Second wave feminist literature is kind of like the birth of people like Terse, like J.K. Rowling. People who view gender as a monolith of male and female, and you end up having people people like J.K. Rowling who view trans men and women, who view trans men as like lost women who need saving, and trans women as violent, disgusting men who are just trying to invade women's spaces.
Hey, I got a question. How long have we been streaming for?
About an hour.
About an hour?
Yeah, it's about 1 minute to an hour.
You want to play some games?
Sure.
I have something to throw out to you before we start inscription.
What's up?
Do you have GTA downloaded? That's
No.
my question. No, you don't?
I don't even own a copy of it, I think. Oh, by the way, just in case you're interested, Borderlands 3 is currently free on the Epic Game Store, so when you get home, I'd probably just claim that.
Is it really? What version? Show me, real quick.
On Epic?
Yeah. Is it Game of the Year? Is it...
I think it's the base version, unfortunately.
Let's see. Also, what's the second game out? Is there anything else?
That's not... I don't know exactly when that's releasing, so let me actually pull this up real quick.
I'm interested to know what game it is. But, hey, if y'all didn't hear that, Epic Game Store is giving out Borderlands 3 for free. So, download that shit.